So every November, we as Americans have an opportunity to honor our veterans, those who sacrifice so much to allow us to enjoy the freedom that we as Americans have. All the more so this year, it's even more appropriate to thank those veterans as we think of veterans here in America and, of course, in Israel that allow us to be safe as Jews no matter where we are throughout this world. Tonight we have a very special opportunity to pay respects to an incredible honoree. And before we begin, I want to thank our members Brian Siegel and Gary Swartz, Jonathan and Barbara Bailiff, our friends at the Jewish War Veterans, for making this evening possible. And now I'll call upon our friends Jonathan and Barbara Bailiff to make our presentation this evening.
Phil, we good? There we go. I'm Jonathan Bailiff. I'm a proud member of Beth Yeshurun with my wife, Barbara Bailiff. Next to me, I'm suiting up here for... I very rarely wear my flight jacket. I used to. I don't wear it that much anymore. It's too hot. But I'm Captain Bailiff. In the U.S. Air Force, I was active duty for 10 years flying the F-4 Phantom fighter bomber. My wife was a major in the Air Force. And we're here to honor Abe Schnitzer. And Abe, we'd like you to come up if you can, please. Last year, wait, there's going to be a lot of that in the next 10 minutes. So last year, I had, please sit, there might be more of that. By the way, I'm here joined by many of the Jewish Veterans of America, the chapter here in Houston, which I'm now proud, my wife and I are proud members of. So they join me in honoring Abe today. Last year, I spoke about what it meant to be an American Jewish veteran. And so tonight, if you just forgive me for 10 minutes, we're going to talk a little bit about that. I don't want to make this a habit every year, but I am a Jewish war veteran from the Air Force and a fellow Air Force comrade of Abe, so I can speak a little bit, somewhat knowledgeably, but not near as much as I'd like. So last year I spoke about what it meant to be a Jewish war veteran, and what that means, and I'll talk about it at the end of my talk here, but really I want to talk about Abe, and in the end, start thinking about what it means to be a Jewish war veteran. And what I talked about last year is there are very specific passages in the Torah, in the Song of Songs, about what it means to be a veteran. And in the end, what it means is to be shomer, to be a guardian. And that is what Abe was, and is. So let's talk about Abe. Abe Schnitzer, or First Lieutenant Abe Schnitzer, joined the Air Force after trying a number of times. Joined the Air Force in April of 1944. Remember what you were doing this past April, and then I'll give you a sense of how incredible this man is. So he joins in April 1944 to join the war effort in Europe. And by next year, so let's think April to next year, by this coming May, next May, this man had already flown 24 missions over Germany. He had led, as an Air Force aviator and a navigator, 10 of those missions. He had won the Distinguished Flying Cross. He had gotten 3 air medals. And most importantly, he lived to tell the tale and be here today. Just to show you how incredible that is and what Jewish war veterans have done, and especially in World War II. There were 550,000 Jewish war fighters in World War II. Just to give you a sense, there were only 1.5 million in all the world fighting. By the way, 500,000 of those were in the Soviet Union, but 550, so more than any other Jews, American Jews, fought World War II. There were 150,000 Jews who fought in the Air Force, what was called at the time the Army Air Force. Of those, almost 2,000 died. By the way, in World War II, and there's just been Apple series just dropped called The Masters of Air, about Abe's, his Air Force, which was in essence the brigades that fought in World War II in the 8th Air Force flying the B-24 and B-17. You had a 75% chance of getting wounded, killed, or shot down. And shot down I'll get to in a second. So you had 2,000 who unfortunately passed away. Of the 150,000, only 2,000 won the Distinguished Flying Cross. And of those, Abe won one, and then he also won 3 air medals. And remember, he started last April and only did that in 1 year. It's amazing. Most importantly, and this is the thing that's really important, Abe then went on to have a beautiful career. He's been a member here for over 70 years. He's been a powerful proponent of Israel. And so I'm going to give you a sense of what that means and how Abe's connection to Israel today, what's going on in Israel. 2 words, intent and courage. What do I mean by courage? Having flown combat fighters, when you're actually in the fighter doing your job, it's automatic. There's a lot, right, Abe? You just do it automatically. But you got to then land, and you got to wait 2-3 days. Imagine seeing 75% of your comrades not make it the next day. You then got to get back in that aircraft. That's what Abe did for 1 year, 24 missions. Second, as a Jewish veteran, he wasn't flying in Japan, he was flying in Germany. And the idea of when you got shot down and you were Jewish, and we're going to talk about dog tags in 2 seconds, but Abraham is his name, and it's on his dog tags. And so there was a real issue with Jewish war veterans who got shot down. There were not that many. But you were almost assured of more punishment and maybe even death. Lastly, when you think about what the U.S. did in World War II, in the Air Force, we flew during the daytime. Why did we fly during the daytime? We had intent, right, Abe? We had a thing called the Norton bomb sight. Yeah. The Norton bomb sight was developed almost half the money that was spent in the Air Force at the time, roughly $2 billion was for this bomb site. Why? They did not want to bomb at night and kill civilians. They wanted to bomb accurately during the daytime. Absolutely. But what was the problem with that? The problem was that the Germans could see you, and the fighters could see you. And that's why the American Air Forces, his Air Force, suffered such losses. And so it's just amazing to do what you did in 1 year. But there's a problem. Abe got the Distinguished Flying Cross, but he got it with his unit, and it was never given to him personally. So my wife, Barbara Bailiff, Major Bailiff, will read his Distinguished Flying Cross for the first time to you today, because I saw the pictures, and you were with your unit when you got the award. Yeah. But it's your award, Abe, and we should read it to you.
So, for the uninitiated, the Distinguished Flying Cross is absolutely the highest air medal you can achieve. That's it. Like, the only one above that is if you probably died. That is the highest medal you can ever get. Very, very few people get it. So this is Abe's. It's dated 6 December 1945. And it says, for extraordinary achievement while serving as lead navigators on many heavy bombardment missions to Germany and enemy-occupied territory, the following officers have displayed superior navigational ability in overcoming adverse weather conditions to lead their formations to successfully bomb targets requiring deep precautions. The skill and devotion to duty exhibited by these officers on these many occasions reflect the highest credit upon themselves and the Armed Forces of the United States. And this is from the Headquarters 2nd Air Division, dated 14 May 1945.
How is this connected with Israel? Abe ran that Norton bomb site with his bombardier. By the way, you were trained to be a bombardier too. Navigators and bombardiers were generally cross-trained in case one was killed. This bomb site was meant to be as accurate as it possibly could be. Again, billions of dollars were spent to get it because they wanted to reduce the civilian casualties and end the war quickly. This is what our fellow Jews, our brothers and sisters in Israel, are doing today. They're combating evil. The evil that we see in Israel is as evil as what Abe saw in Nazi Germany. And it's horrific what we had to do, but we had to do it because Abe is a showmare. If you're going to combat darkness, you got to stand up. It's in the Torah, it's in the Talmud, and there's very specific things that we talk about. And Abe represents that for us today, and he's been representing it for 100 years. So what can we do for Abe? We can stand up. One of the things that when I did research with Jewish air fighters or war fighters in World War II, is you have to wear a dog tag. Many of my fellow Jewish veterans are probably wearing them today. You had to wear a dog tag for two reasons. One, because they needed to identify you if you got injured for your blood type. But they also needed to identify you in case you did, if you got killed. On the dog tag, it says your religion. And it says, in World War II, very interestingly, it said Catholic, Protestant, or H for Hebrew. By the way, when the U.S. Air Force gets it wrong or right, they went back all the way and called us Hebrews. Probably accurate. So if you could please stand up.
You're good. You want me to stand up? Okay.
Yeah, please. So what we did, because Abe, we wanted to present Abe a set of dog tags. He has his.
Let me show him the picture.
But we want to set him a set of dog tags that show our appreciation in Beth Yeshurun for what he did, and that he actually represented us in the air over Nazi Germany, ending that evil, just like our brothers and sisters are ending the evil today in Israel. So it reads, on behalf of a grateful nation and in accordance with United States Army Regulation 600-35, sorry, I won't go that long, Congregation Beth Yeshurun proudly presents former United States Army Air Force First Lieutenant Abraham Schnitzer, 22 April 1944 to 26 October 1945, his official replacement issue identification tags
Dog tags.
that say H for Hebrew.
Thank you, Larry.
Now you
You don't have to say anything. This is your dog.
So Abe just said, please sit down, we're almost done. Abe just said, I don't have to say anything. I do want to thank Gary and Brian. If Abe knew we were going to do this, he wouldn't be here.
One thing I want to say,
Oh,
Okay.
anything. Here you go.
and my wife, she's scared to death I'm going to say something. Put up with me. But every morning, when we took off on a mission from England to fly over to Europe, I'd look up there and I'd say, please, look after me, bring me back safe and sound. I was lucky, and he did it 100 years ago, and I was so grateful.
That's it. Thank you, Abe. So I'll finish up with, in the Song of Songs, it talks about, behold, Solomon carried in his litter 60 Israeli heroes are his escort, all of them skilled swordsmen. The guardian of Israel, Hine lo Yanam velo Yisha Shomer Yisrael. The guardian of Israel never slumbers or sleeps. I wait for you, God, for your deliverance. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jonathan and Barbara, for doing such a beautiful job in finding those gifts for Abe. That was fantastic. And I want to call up David Levine from our Jewish War Veterans chapter.
Thank you, Rabbi. I would like to present this book, 21 Steps, Guarding the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, to the congregation Beth Yeshurun to have in their library. The presentation is by the Houston Levy Post 574 of the Jewish War Veterans. We want to thank and honor all the Jewish men and women who answered and continue to answer the call to serve and protect their countries. We may not know all their names, but we know they all made and continue to make valuable contributions to freedom and democracy.